So if you guys were in school, right, you guys would have wore a traditional dress. So to restore that spirit, I came up with some traditional dress. Okay, happy Tamil New Year. So that is one of the special thing for today, and I hope the coming years will not be like what happened this year. We will have a further discussion on those kind of issues as well at the end of the class. Okay, without wasting much time, let's move on. So today we are going to discuss about the next part of the lesson. Okay. Now everyone came, right? So almost all there, right? Yeah. So today we're gonna discuss about. Everyone is there, it seems. Shall we continue? So already 10 minutes I already took. Okay. Today what we're gonna discuss is about the last class we were discussing about the functions of ecosystem, right? So when you see this. Okay, last class we were discussing about this decomposition is one of the function, right? So once we see the decomposition is one of the function, where we have got 5 things to learn in this: fragmentation, catabolism, humification, leaching and mineralization. And I will be giving this PPT as well, right? I just wanted to share this, but due to I'll share at the end of the class. Meanwhile you just follow my class, that's enough. So each process has got something to do with one of the property, like fragmentation, detritus. If you remember what is detritus, right? So which are dead and decaying and other plant tissue material, animal tissue material, etc. And catabolism, what exactly happens during catabolism, accumulation of humus, draining of leaching, all these processes. And you have already seen that this decomposition will be depending upon the chemical composition of detritus and temperature and soil moisture. Is that clear? So this is one of the function, right? So with this we have completed functions of ecosystem, 2 things. So today what we are going to discuss is energy flow. Okay, regarding energy flow, right? When we talk about energy flow, right? So we will be talking in the terms of thermal energy, like especially how this this energy would be flowing from one trophic level to other trophic level in what means. So that is the actual point of this entire. So I just wanted to check whether I'm able to see clearly, right? Okay, fine. So so in this we're gonna learn about how this energy flow would be there, and for that matter, what exactly this energy, in what way this energy is actually trapped, right? So if you see the energy flow, so sun is the ultimate source, right? The solar incident, which actually makes almost, right, 50% of its photosynthetically active radiation. We say PAR, right? So if you see here, sun is the only source of energy for all ecosystems. If you see here, I am showing this terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems here, but ultimately there is one single source, that is sun, right? So sun is the ultimate source for the energy, right, for all ecosystems on the earth. And of the incident solar radiation, you would have studied about incident light and radiation in physics as well, right? So of incident solar radiation, which is less than 50% of it is nothing but photosynthetically active radiation. So that radiation is photosynthetically, when we talk about this wavelengths, right? So that wavelength would be used for the photosynthesis. So it is photosynthetically active radiation. Out of 100%, 50% is PAR. Okay. So likewise, what we will study is how does these ecosystems function, and within this ecosystem, how come this energy is actually going from one level to other level. Okay. So if you see this, each trophic level, right? So each trophic level would be of either directly or indirectly it will be depending upon the other organisms in the ecosystem, right? That's how the energy flow would occur. Right. So if you see this energy flow, it will be a unidirectional. For that matter, sun is a source of this kind source of energy, and that will be used up by the other organisms which are present in the ecosystem. Okay, so that's what we will be talking about. And who exactly uses this sunlight? Can you guys tell? Who exactly uses this sunlight? Actually, laser pointer I thought of using, but it is green, right? So obviously I show the ecosystem is completely green and it will be messed up, it will be messing up with the quality of the, what you say, you cannot really see what I am talking about, so it will be a little distraction. Okay, so I am using the pointer, red highlighter pointer in the, right, laser pointer is green. Okay, I will be using the pointer. I will be using the pointer of the, what do you say, PPT itself. Okay, yeah. So if you see that who is actually, so in case of aquatic organisms, it's phytoplanktons or actually, phytoplanktons are actually the producers in aquatic, and when it comes to terrestrial ecosystem, it is of plant. They are of plants. Okay, right. So let's move further. So this energy flow can be understood by two ways, right? Okay. So one is terrestrial, and other one is what do you say, aquatic ecosystems. So if you see here, in these ecosystems, last time we already talked about trophic levels would be present. Okay, there would be a lot of trophic levels. Right from that stratification we already used. If you remember the stratification, in stratification I told very clearly that we discussed that there would be categorization of organisms based upon their activities and how do they based upon how they are depending upon others, like autotroph, heterotrophs, producers, consumers, top consumers, right? In consumers again herbivores and carnivores, top carnivores, like that. So this is a stratification. So if you see this, energy flow is unidirectional, and for that to understand, we need to take any one of the ecosystems as an example. And I already gave last class one assignment also, one of the homework, that to write in your own words about one of the ecosystems. So you guys wrote, everyone wrote correctly when it comes to all the answers, as well as the ecosystem also you defined it well. So if you see that there would be producers and consumers, right? So in the consumers again, primary consumers and secondary consumers, right? Like that, the one organism would be depending upon the other organism, right? That's makes it this NPP would travel from one trophic level to other trophic level, right? So this GPP which is produced at the producer level, and at the end is what? NPP, and this NPP would be utilized by the consumers. In the consumers again we have different types, primary, secondary, we have herbivores, carnivores, carnivores. So this NPP would travel from these trophic levels. So what exactly traveling is what? The energy, and how this energy travels, and what are the different and this energy travel in the trophic levels, different trophic levels, right? That what we call it to depict, right? Graphically we can depict in the terms of what do you say, pyramids, or we can even talk in the terms of flow charts. Okay, when we talk about so this kind of energy transfer may occur, right, within the ecosystem in two types, this energy flow. So one is what? This food chains. So if you see here, grazing food chain, right? So the energy would be moving from one trophic level to other trophic level, right? So this is of two types. We can understand it by two types. One is this food chain, especially if you see this energy flow and biomass to simple ecosystems, simple food chains for that matter, right? So if you see the food chains, right, the food chain is nothing but one is depending upon the other, right, directly or indirectly. That's what food chain is. And this food chain can be understood by two types, two ways. One is grazing and detritus. So what exactly the grazing food chain looks like? So grazing food chain looks like something like this, right? So grazing food chain in which you will be having producers. You will be having producers or who actually takes up the sunlight, the ultimate sunlight, right, which uses up the sunlight for the production of food, right, nothing but GPP, and the GPP would be finally ended up being NPP, and that NPP would enter into different trophic levels, right? So grazing food chain on terrestrial ecosystem would look something like this. So you have primary consumer and secondary consumer, and even you have a decomposers. So once these guys die, it enters into decomposer. So who is this? Sorry, these are not decomposers. So primary, secondary, and at the same time we have tertiary. So like this, these consumers are there, right? So this is how the energy would be traveling. So this is on terrestrial ecosystem. We have one of the type of food chain. We call it as, what is it? You can't see my head or what? Yeah. That's enough. Right. So this is about grazing food chain, and there is other type of so this grazing food chain is one of the food chain which you can see example is terrestrial food chain, right? So this grazing food chain can be seen on terrestrial as well as aquatic, as simple as it. Are you guys able to follow? I'm just trying to match. I have to show this entire setup, and you will understand how difficult it is to actually do all this stuff. Okay, I will take an image at the end and I will post it. You will come to know. Okay, so please adjust yourself. Okay, right. So I hope this would be more clear. So within the grazing food chain, we can understand this grazing food chain, right? By using this terrestrial food chain or aquatic food chain. So terrestrial food chain, if you see, again they have producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers like carnivores, right, and then tertiary consumers, right, and then once they die, they enter into decomposers, right. So that is about terrestrial. So but if you see here, the primary source of energy is, who is that? Sun. Okay, and then next food chain within the grazing food chain, right, that is in which living organisms are involved in this. At the same time, the energy is traveling from one trophic level to other trophic level, right? And if you see in gauging food chain GFC, within that GFC, again we are talking about the second type, right? Second type of ecosystem, that is aquatic food chain. Second type of food chain, that is aquatic food chain. First one we have seen terrestrial food chain, and now we are able to see aquatic food chain, right? In aquatic food chain, again we have producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Okay, and first one is GFC. Now this is DFC, that is detritus food chain. So in the detritus food chain, who is actually involving here? Detritus. So if you see here, the detritus is nothing but, we know last class we already studied what exactly detritus means, right? They are organic matter, at the same time dead tissues and dead animals, etc. Right? They will be consumed by this detrivores, maybe a multicellular or unicellular, like bacteria, fungi, and protozoa. And then we have detrivore consumers, right? Right, at the this is something at the low level trophic level within the detritus food chain, and then organism, multicellular organism, unicellular, multicellular, and then comes the small carnivores, mini worms, and then finally omnivorous birds and fishes. So this is how the detritus food chain would look like. Are you able to follow, guys? Today it is very difficult to interact because I will show the entire setup, okay, then you will understand. So I have a, I will show that how I set up this entire room for teaching purpose. You will be really surprised to see. Now let me ask a question, that are you able to follow? So far what we discussed is, so far what we discussed is what is energy and how this energy is actually traveling down the trophic levels, and we are talking about food chains, simple food chain, in which the simple food chains are used for especially used for understanding numbers, pyramids, energy pyramids, and biomass pyramids, etc. Right? So in the food chains, right, this energy is traveling from one trophic level to other trophic level, right? Within the food chains, we have two types of food chains. One is what? Yeah. So you're all following. Yeah, good. So one is grazing food chain, that is grazing food chain, and detritus food chain. So within the grazing food chain, we have again what? We have terrestrial food chain as well as aquatic food chain. And within the detritus, we have seen in the detritus what are the organisms do involve. Okay, so that is about the food chains. And once what happens is, this grazing food chain GFC, after the death of the GFC, because this grazing food chain is there, right? So this grazing food chain, this grazing food chain is there, right? So this grazing food chain organisms, once on their death, they enter into detritic food chain. Now is it making sense, right? So at the beginning of the class we talked about detritus and detrivorous organisms, right? Now it will be making more sense, isn't it? Because the detrivorous food chain involves the detrivorous organisms, be it unicellular organisms, worms, small worms, and the other organisms. So once on the death of this GFC, they enter these organisms. This entire organic matter would be entering into the detritus food chain, DFC. Is it clear? Yeah. So what is food web, for that matter? Food web is something which is more complex than food chain. Okay, food chain, So if you see this is that clear? Yeah. So food web is there, right? So food web is something which is more complex than food chain. So this can be a food chain, okay? But in this food web, different food chains would be involved, right? So you can see that detrivorous food chain as well as grazing food chain are interconnected by their organisms, right? By the different organisms. So they are all interconnected, and this energy flow is much complex than the simple food chain. Okay, so that's what when we talk about energy pyramids, right? So we don't talk about food web. We take a simple food chain. That's it. So that is one of the limitations for the pyramids. So food web is something you can imagine how the spider web will be there. So those many interactions will be present in the food web from one trophic level to other trophic level. Okay. For example, this DFC members, right? The detrivorous food chain members may be a prey for the grazing food chain. So that's how the interactions would occur. So this detrivorous food chain members may be a prey for this, grazing food chain. So that's how they are interconnected, and this makes it so complex. That's what we call it as web. So this entire, you can see the pointer, right? So red pointer is going on. So this entire interactions we call it as a web. Okay. Okay. So that is about the food web. And these food webs can be, this entire food chains can be of, they can be understood by using some pyramids, right? So this is pyramids. So here we put the lot of organisms here. So one trophic level, other trophic level. This is what I am talking about. Different trophic levels. Trophic level 1, trophic level 2, 3, 4. Isn't it? So in this trophic level you will find the producers. So sun, solar energy is trapped by these producers, and obviously they will be utilized. And then the energy flow would be there from one trophic level to other trophic level. So energy decrease in successive trophic levels. So if you see here, there was a huge energy is involved here, right? For example, 10,000 joules, right? So if you take any example like that, the energy, when we talk about joules of sunlight is, as an energy is involved in this. So for the next trophic level, 10% only will be entered into the next trophic level. So out of this, 10% will be entered into this trophic level, and from this only 10% would be going into the next trophic level. This is what we call it as law of 10% law for that matter. Okay, from one trophic level to other trophic level, only 10% of energy is carried. Remaining 85 to 90% will be wasted for their energy or for the metabolic processes. Is that clear? So only 10% energy is transferred from one trophic level to other trophic level. Okay. So one trophic level to other trophic level, the energy transfer would be only 10%. Remaining would be wasted by the energy utilized by the organism itself. That is the aspect. Are you able to follow, guys? Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's move on. Right? Remaining, everyone is there? Okay, let's move on. So next what we're gonna learn, right? So how energy flow would be there from one trophic level to other trophic level. So this is about 4.14 of your 14th lesson ecology, ecosystem. Okay, in ecology unit, ecosystem, 14th lesson. 14.4 is talking about how this energy is, for that matter, how this energy started, right? So we are talking about how this energy flow is there, and then how this energy is transferring from one trophic level to other trophic level is what 14.4 is all about. Okay, and in that, let's quick recap. Right, in that we have talked about this energy flow can be of can be going through this terrestrial ecosystem or aquatic ecosystem. And if you see this aquatic ecosystem, deep thermal vents will be there. In deep oceans there will be thermal vents. So that is a source of heat or energy for the deep sea level organisms. Okay. So food chains, we talked about food chains, GFC and DFC, and we have seen that how after the death of the GFC, how this organic matter is utilized by this detritus food chain, that is DFC organisms. So that's how the energy would be traveled down, and then the complex interaction of these different food chains would makes up a food web, and you can come up with your own examples also, you can, if you observe, and it is much more complex. And when we talk about trophic levels, we will be having different trophic levels. Energy will be transferred from trophic level to other trophic level, would be 10% only will be going from one trophic level to other trophic level, and 85 to 90% would be lost during. Now let's enter into the next topic, that is ecological pyramids, right? That is 14.5. Okay. So ecological pyramids, right? If you see these ecological pyramids, right, they are of three different types. So what are the different types of pyramids? So now you might have understood why we call them as pyramids, right? So at the bottom base of the pyramid, right, we put lot of organisms, which mostly we put the producers, right? The producers or these producers give energy to the next trophic level. Nothing but the consumers will be depending upon this producers. So within the consumers we have again primary, secondary, tertiary, right? Herbivores, carnivores, top carnivores, etc. So that's what trophic levels, right? So how can we understand better than this? So we use different pyramids to understand the function of this ecosystems. For that matter, food chain. How this food chain can be, for that matter, we can study in the terms of number and energy and biomass. You know about biomass, right? So standing crop, we use one of the term that is nothing but per unit area. Right, how these organisms are, the mass of the organisms are distributed, right? For that matter, it is from. Okay, so if you see here, each trophic level has certain right, each trophic level will be having certain mass of the organisms, right? So that particular, those living organisms makes up the mass at particular time. That is what we call it as standing crop, right? So that standing crop is measured, which measures the mass of the organisms. So likewise, we can study biomass, or we can even study the numbers of the organisms. How many producers are there, how many consumers, within consumers herbivores are there and carnivores are there, so that we can understand a food chain, simple food chain, right, in terms of pyramids. So when we go in terms of pyramids, right, so a pyramid can be like this, right, upright, or like this, inverted. So triangle, pyramid is nothing but a triangle, right? So this triangle can be upright, inverted or spindle. So where exactly this pyramid of numbers would be upright, pyramid of number would be inverted, and pyramid of number would be spindle, we will be trying to explain. I will be trying to explain that. Okay. And when it comes to energy, right, how this energy is traveling from one trophic level to other trophic level, we put it in this pyramid, and we will see these organisms involved in this pyramid, right? How each trophic level, how this energy distribution is there, that we gonna study. And this energy distribution pyramid will always be upright. Okay, from producers to consumers to when producers to herbivores to carnivores to top carnivores, this energy would be in a unidirectional. That's what. So unidirectional at the same time upright, because a lot of producers will be there in the base of the pyramid. So from that it will go to the next trophic level, herbivores, and then carnivores, top carnivores. That's what makes this pyramid of energy always upright. When it comes to pyramid of biomass, right? Biomass. Just now I told, right, how much these living organisms has a mass in time within that particular area, right? It can be of upright or inverted. So this slide depicts all the pyramids, all the ecological pyramids. Is that clear? So we will be talking about each pyramid, and I will be giving different examples of this pyramids as well. Is that clear? Shall we move on? Okay guys, is it clear guys? Please let me know. Okay, fine. So let's move forward. Okay, so let's understand each ecological pyramid in detail. Okay, so when it comes to ecological pyramids, right? So we have different types of pyramids here. We will be talking about first one, pyramid of numbers. So pyramid of numbers can be upright. So upright in the terms of okay, upright in the terms of if you see this pyramid, this is upright, where the producers are there, primary consumers are there, secondary consumers are there, tertiary consumers are there. So numbers here will be more. So at the base of the pyramid, the number of the organisms, producers which are present here would be more in number when compared to the next trophic level. So if you see the hogs, right, so they will be very less. Snakes will be very less when compared to the producers. So that's how this food chain, or for that matter, this kind of an food chain would be of upright. Okay, so we are talking about when we talk about upright pyramids. So the number of producers would be of more. So when it comes to parasitic kind of a food chain, if you see parasitic kind of a food chain, right? So in the parasitic type of food chains, you will be having hyperparasites, parasites, and you have a producers, right? Herbivores and producers. So within this type of food chain, what happens is, hyperparasites. Parasites means which lives on other organism, right? So these hyperparasites would be more in number when compared to parasites. So these hyperparasites would be present on the parasites, and these parasites would be present on the herbivores, and these herbivores will feed on the producers. So producers would be very less in the case of this inverted pyramid, as simple as that. And this inverted pyramid, producers are less and this hyperparasites are more. So this is something which is of inverted to the normal. So upright where the producers are more and the consumers are, when it comes to the top carnivores, right, consumers, tertiary consumers are very low. But here the one who is actually feeding on each organism would be of inverse, okay, because on this tree, right, on this producer, these guys, herbivores, are depending upon. So number of herbivores which are depending upon these producers are more than the producers itself, and number of parasites which are feeding on the or depending upon directly or indirectly on the herbivores are more than the herbivores. And when it comes to hyperparasites, these hyperparasites are more in number when compared to parasites, as simple as it. That's what we got this inverted pyramid. And coming to the next one, that is, if you take this tree, a simple tree and its food chain. If you take a big tree, right, a tree and its organisms, right, associated organisms, right, how is that? If you try to make a number, count the numbers, right, you can go not now, okay. So when you observe a tree and the dependent organisms on that tree would something which gives like this kind of a spindle type of a pyramid, pyramid of number. So if you see, tree is only one. On tree again herbivores are living, right, and the consumer on the carnivores, right, which depending upon this herbivores would be again limited. So that's what we get this spindle type of the pyramid. Is that clear? So actually consumers which feed on this herbivores are less, but the consumers, nothing but the herbivores are more which are feeding on this tree. So only one tree, okay, for that matter only one tree, and we have got one type of any carnivore. You take hawk or something, owl or something which feeds on not owl, which would be the top carnivore which feeds on this herbivores. So herbivores number is more, so that what happens is bulged. So at the top it is tapered and at the end is tapered, so it gives a spindle type. But here what happened is the base is somewhat broad, okay. This is pyramid of numbers which can be upright, which can be inverted, and which can be spindle in terms of tree type of food chain. So in different food chains, this in parasitic relationship normally this would be there, and in parasitic relationship this kind of a food chain would be there. And when it comes to a food chain present on the trees, it would look something like this, spindle type of pyramid of number. So is that clear? So just now we talked about this, okay, pyramid of numbers. Now we'll go for the other examples, okay. When we talk about examples, right, you can see the grassland ecosystem as an example. Are you guys able to follow? Okay. Okay now. So I'll give some examples also here. You can see the pyramids of numbers, number of individuals in million. Okay. You can see these many in grassland ecosystem. You have this much of number, right? And from one trophic level to other trophic level, this number is quite decreasing. That's what we got this pyramid. So base you have a lot of producers, but at the top we have very less number of consumers. Okay, so pyramids are upright when it comes to grassland and pond ecosystems. Is that clear, guys? And then example, pyramids is inverted when it comes to, now I'm giving some examples. In the case of grassland ecosystem or pond ecosystem, general ecosystems, always the pyramid is upright when it comes to number, pyramid of number. But when it comes to parasitic relationship, this is hyperparasite, ectoparasite, herbivores, producers. So these lives on this, these lives on this, these lives on this, right? This makes inverted pyramid. When it comes to tree food chain, so you have only one tree and on which you have multiple herbivores are living. On multiple herbivores, only one or two carnivores would be living, depending upon. So that makes it spindle. Okay, coming to the next, right? That is biomass. Biomass is nothing but, again we talk in terms of dry weight in kilometers per meter square. So from 1 meter square to other, one trophic level to other trophic level, again, right? The pyramid would change. At the same time, this biomass would change. So that makes this a biomass pyramid which is upright, right? And when it will be going into, inverted, that also I will try to give. So when we talk about producers, right? So pyramid of biomass is in terrestrial ecosystem is always upright. So in terrestrial ecosystem, this pyramid of biomass would be always upright. So this herbivores depending upon producers, and this is trophic level. These are all trophic levels. And when you take this dry weight of the organisms, right? How we take in kilograms per meter square. So that's 1,110 1. So it would be decreasing from one trophic level to other trophic level, which makes this pyramid upright. Okay. So when it comes to what do you say, aquatic food chains, right? Ecosystems, aquatic ecosystem or food chain, right? You will have inverted kind of a biomass pyramid of biomass. So you will be having the biomass would be very less when in the case of producers, so that it gives an inverted pyramid. And then herbivores which feeds on these producers would be more in number, and more than that, more in the number in the sense we are talking about the biomass weights in the kilograms, right? So when we weigh these guys comparatively, carnivores would weigh more, right, in aquatic ecosystems. And this biomass, when it comes to the pyramid of biomass, this would be inverted in aquatic ecosystem. And there is a special case of spindle type of an biomass, right, in which the zooplankton are involved in this. So that makes it spindle shape. Okay, so this zooplankton would be more in number. So here we are not considering that. So this zooplankton makes, which feeds on this producers would be having more biomass. So that makes it a kind of a spindle shape of biomass in the aquatic ecosystem itself. So when the zooplanktons are involved. Okay, so that makes this this biomass more when compared to the producers which within the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, so this is one more example, pyramids of biomass, right? That is you can see here the biomass. Here we took in grams, right? So actually you can take it in grams or kgs, right? So you have got producers, the number is increasing, right? The weight is increasing, the number in the sense. So that's what inverted kind of a biomass in aquatic ecosystem. So biomass of herring and sea lion is less than zooplankton. So that's what I gave now, one special type of ecosystem where the sea lion is involved, right? So that makes at the same time it is this weight, we are talking about biomass, right? The weight of this sea lion would be less when compared to this zooplankton which is involved here. That's making it bulge here. so that it taking a spindle type of shape. Is it clear? So actually previously what happened, this has more weight, right? But this I mean the top consumers has more weight, so that's what we got. This type of a pyramid, biomass pyramid. But here in this type of food chain, what happened is, in this type of example where the sea lion is involved, right, the weight of the sea lion is surpassed by the zooplankton. So that's what we got is this kind of a bulged, right, the herring, this fish, different type of fish, and zooplankton surpassed the weight of the biomass of the sea lion. So that makes it spindle type of biomass pyramid. So this is one of the example. Okay. So that's about the pyramid of biomass. Okay. And then finally we have got 3 more slides, guys. Are you able to follow? We'll take 10 minutes extra class. Okay, just 10 minutes. Just bear with me. All good? Okay, the last one what we gonna talk about is pyramid of energy. Okay, pyramid of energy, you can say we have a 10% law, right? So, right, at the same time, if you see this, each bar represents the energy present at each trophic level at a given time or annually per unit area. Per unit area, how much energy is, how much energy is present. Okay, so this pyramid of the sunlight is utilized by these producers, and then this produces phytoplankton. This zooplankton and worms are feed, depending upon this phytoplankton. Insects and larvae and small fish are depending upon zooplankton, and large fish depending upon the larvae and small fish. So this is kind of an energy pyramid. So from one, if you take this energy food pyramid, right, energy pyramid, so you will see that there would be this trophic level of energy transfer would be present from one trophic level to other trophic level. This would be varying. Okay, so for easy understanding, you can take different numbers like 10,000. In NCERT the numbers were given in a simple way, right, that is of maybe 10,000 joules, right, and the next trophic level it is 1000, and the next trophic level it would be 100. If you see this, if this example, it would be more easy, right? So from one trophic level to other trophic level, you can see that only 10% is actually traveling. So remaining traveling from one trophic level to other trophic level, and the remaining 85 to 90% is completely lost in different energy processes. So this makes it energy pyramid, right? So energy pyramid, when we talk about this energy pyramid, right? So energy pyramid is always upright. Okay, so today what we discussed was simple, two things, 14.4 and 14.5. So in the 14.5, ecological pyramids were discussed, where pyramids of number was discussed, pyramid of discussed, and so this pyramid of energy can be it is always upright, right? And there is a 10% law, and biomass can be of upright, inverted, and even spindle also. And pyramid of number can be upright, inverted, and even spindle also. So this is about ecological pyramids, right? And there are limitations with these pyramids, right? Food pyramids, right? What are the limitations? So these limitations, nothing but what are the limitations you can see is, you can see limitations that these pyramids can consider and cannot consider or doesn't consider. What they doesn't consider, I gave. What they consider is only simple food chains would be considered. For example, simple food chains will be considered, right? Like this, simple food chains. And when come to what doesn't consider is nothing but food web is not considered in this kind of an food pyramids. But you have to remember very clearly that when we are drawing any food pyramids, right, numbers, biomass or energy, we have to take exact note of the organism. We should not omit or we should not neglect any species or any organism. Everything we need to count, right? So that would be making more complex. And now what is the limitation is that it doesn't consider this food pyramid doesn't consider these food webs which are much complex, and doesn't even consider the decomposers which are very essential part or integral part of the of any ecosystem, right? So these are the limitations of the pyramids. So with this we completed 14.4 and 14.5. That is one thing for the class. Okay. Okay, there is a small announcement. So this would be the last class for you guys officially, in the sense like this kind of an online setting. Maybe the reopening we will be meeting in classroom setting. Okay. So by that time, meanwhile, what I am going to do is, so what you guys are going to do. So maybe at June only the classes, school would be reopening. Okay, then we will have a board kind of a setting until or unless. So this would be the last class. Okay, from tomorrow you will not be having any class. Okay. So what I was planning is this. Okay. So I will be coming up with my future perspective, right, for my bio thing. In this channel I will be posting different types of videos as well. So future perspective involves live classes already done. Maybe this would be the last class, maybe officially, like maybe school reopening only we will have, right? But interested students can go into this. It means I will be posting some videos with the face cam, right, which would be mostly a pre-recorded one, right, on the full chapter, maybe 11th or 12th portions, or maybe new or old chapters, that I will be posting very soon. Okay, so this kind of a videos will be there. And the next one is third type of videos is outline and summary sessions. So far we have gone through some live sessions, right? On those live sessions you will have outline and summary, or on this full chapter lessons there will be outline or summary sessions with flow charts. It will be there. And the final one is there will be discussion forum on social issues related to syllabus. Interested people can join and we can have a discussion. So this is future perspective of this interaction, our interaction. Maybe classes would stop right now. The live classes would maybe stop behalf of the school. But I will be posting these three type of videos. Okay, that is full chapter, face cam videos, pre-recorded. You can access any point of time and you can get benefited. You can share and you can share as much as possible. And even if you can join in those classes. Okay, you can access at any point of time and you can get benefited. That's the only agenda, right? But almost in comment session, please leave the feedback as well. Okay, actual comment session below. Okay, not this live chat. Okay.